guys, welcome back to Ratchet and Sly. I'm Ratchet, this is Sly.
This is our top 5 video games video. First of all, it's Ratchet's top 5 video games.
Number 5, Mario series. How many of you remember playing these games on your NES, your SNES, your N64, whatever game system you had it on? I'm sure every one of us can remember this classic game. Running, jumping, etc., the platform gaming, etc., the fun and game of the fair, shall we say. I think it basically your Mario, you can sometimes be Luigi and the other characters. You're going through, you're trying to rescue the princess from Bowser, you know, that kind of thing. Good, just generally good fun games that I'm pretty certain we all remember as a child. So that's that game. Yeah, that's a good fun game actually. Really fun. What we're showing here though is the first. That was the first Mario. This is the second one. We're going to show you a bit from each of the first, the second, and the third Mario games. They quite good games, vary in style slightly, but they were basic platformers, basic good platformers, and you could have some real fun with the blooming things. I remember, I can't remember if I ever played and completed these games, but I did play them, and they were as funny as anything. I remember I played Mario Party. That's good as well. That game came out because the series spawned a lot of games like Mario Party, where you're on you're going around the game board on doing various mini games and stuff to get stars and stuff. That was fun. And Mario Kart, that you can have some fun with that. You know, did various things like that. It's really good gaming, really good fun. Just, you know. And like I said, here you can see the Mario 3, you know, things like that. And yeah, it was they were good games. They definitely deserve the number 5 slot that they have on my list, because they were good. Definitely. So that's Mario, and I think I think that's all I need to say on that. Because now we're going to number 4, the Sonic series. With the Mario and the Sonic series, what you get is basically he was a blue hedgehog, super fast with a bad attitude. You know, it started off with Sonic 1, where he was on his own, and you would go through the levels, platformer style, as fast as you could, collecting the rings, collecting the Chaos Emeralds, yeah, trying to beat the Robotnik as he was then. Then it went to Sonic 2, where you see Tails, who you just saw there. Well, he joined you on Sonic 2, and again you're beating Robotnik, and again you know, collecting the Chaos Emeralds and the rings, yeah. And then you went to Sonic 3, where Knuckles was introduced, and you know, again, emeralds, rings, but you could also play as Knuckles, I think, in the, I don't know if you could in Sonic 3, but in Sonic 4, Sonic and Knuckles, you definitely could. Well, technically it's not Sonic 4 because I think they made a Sonic 4, but technically it's Sonic and Knuckles. But yeah, in that you could play as Knuckles and so on and so forth. And then you got stories like this one here, Sonic Heroes and Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, where you actually got a proper story to them. You know, where you're trying to beat the stories. They were brilliant games. So that's my number 4. Number 3, the Portal series. Now, what can you say about the Portal series? There is so much that can be said. Absolutely amazing. Basically, you are Chell or Shell. You can argue amongst yourselves how you say that. But basically, you are trying to get through the levels by solving the puzzles with using portals and boxes and goodness knows what. There are turrets that fire at you occasionally, which is really irritating, but they're part of the thing. You've got GLaDOS in the background being her usual snarky self, who, you know, giving the bad attitude like she always does, saying how you're fat and all this nonsense. The humour was a bit off the wall, you know. And they're basically, in the second one you met Wheatley as well. The guy was pretty much a moron, although if you said that to him, his reply would be, "I am not a moron." So yeah, he would reply that way. And I think GLaDOS gets turned into a potato at one point. It got fun, real fun. Had some great fun with it, I tell you. And you have to go through and you have to solve the puzzles and use portals like the portal gun. And just for those who aren't aware, it's also the same universe as the Half-Life series, although you never actually see any of the Half-Life characters in Portal. It is actually the same universe, because I think there are references to it in the Half-Life series, like Aperture Science is mentioned in the Half-Life series. Well, that's Portal. That's what Portal is taking place in the Aperture Science place. So that's why they're the same world. Valve did that. Although apparently Valve never learnt to count to 3, because there is no number 3 of this game or the Half-Life series. But the Half-Life series wouldn't make it to my list. However, it did. The Portal series did, because it was just one of those cerebral, well, thinking games, I'll say, for those who don't understand what cerebral means. Thinking games where you had to really think outside the box sometimes. In fact, sometimes you had to throw the box away and just do your own thing. Practically, I mean, not literally, but practically, I tell you, it was so tricky sometimes. Great fun, but the puzzles drove you nuts. And you were rewarded at the end of each game with GLaDOS singing a song on the credits. Anyway, that's that game. Number 2, Oddworld, Abe and Munch series. Now, there were other Oddworld games. I think there was one other Oddworld game, but I'm not going to mention that here, and you'll see why later. But basically, in Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Abe's Exodus, the two that we're going to show you the video for, which is why the video for this one will be a bit longer. I think it's about 4 minutes. Basically, you are Abe, and your whole task is to rescue the Mudokons from the Gluckons and the Sligs. Sligs are your basic prison guards, because the Mudokons are slaves. As you just saw there, you can die in it, obviously, and if you do, these birds fly and take you to somewhere else, though I never did understand the significance of the birds myself, although I'm not the first to say that. Basically, though, you try and rescue them. If you chant, right, you can... that was a Slig we just saw running. If you chant, you can take over a Slig, possess him, to, you know, make him do what you want. You'll see that in a minute. When the Slig comes back on screen, you'll see there you go. You see there, you tried to chant and possess him, but it didn't work because he kept running off screen, so really hard to do. But if you are successful, what you can actually do is possess him and make him do your dirty work for you, like killing other Sligs, controlling Sloggies, who you'll see later, Slogs, who, well, not later on this video, but later in the game you'll see Slogs. They're like dog type things, and the Sligs will talk to them, say, "Here boy, get him," and that's useful. We're on to the second game now. This is the second game, where basically after the first one you're rescuing all the Mudokons from Rupture Farms, and the second one it's from the brew place, because they're digging up Mudokon bones to make their brew with, and you have to go in and you have to rescue them. You have to get them out, because you can't allow that. You're the hero. So you go in and you try and rescue him. Now this one's got flying slugs in it, and as you can see, he just bombed you and killed you. Well, that happens. Yeah, because you get flying slugs. And I think in this one, you can, the paramites and the scrabs that you saw in the first game, you can actually possess them in this one, and you can use them. And also the gluckons, the big bosses, I think you can possess them in this game as well. I think you have to at the end possess the gluckons, the big boss guys. So that's number 2. That's what that's about. You know, in Munch is Odyssey. There's a third character you're introduced to, Munch. He's a little funny guy with the webbed foot. He doesn't have 2 feet. He only has 1, so he sort of hops along. And there are fuzzles as well that you meet, who he's trying to save all the fuzzles for, or save all the fuzzles for some reason, trying to save in the other creatures. Obviously you're trying to save the gluckons as well, and the Mendocans in that one, I should say, not the gluckons, in that one as well, but you're also with Munch, you're trying to save the fuzzles and other creatures, right? And he's trying to look for his his friends, because he's the last of his species, and he's trying to find others of his species. And I think at the end of that one he does find a big, like, caviar tin of caviar, and that's how he saves them. Moving swiftly on, Stranger's Wrath. So good a game, I didn't want to lump it in with the Oddworld series as just part of the Oddworld series. I wanted this one to be separate because this is my number 1 game. I actually played this game and completed it so many times on the Xbox when I had an original Xbox. In fact, I went round so many times with this game that when I finished one of the games, completed it once, I was sat there thinking, what game shall I put in now? Stuff it, I'll go round again. And I actually went round again. I actually did. I actually went round again. And, because the game was that good. It was the only game I've ever done that with. But basically, you are that guy there. You are a bounty hunter, and your job is to bounty the bad guys. You bring them in alive, you get lots of money. You bring them in dead, you don't get quite so much. Me and Ratchet have done a Let's Play on this, so if you go on our channel, and you'll find the Let's Play for this if you want to see more about what the game's about. But basically, yeah, this is what it is. It's you're a bounty hunter, you're going through collecting bounties, you've got live ammo here. You saw collect fuzzles there, well that's your live ammo. There are chicken people in this world. There's all sorts. Basically, like I said, if you want to get in-depth details of what the game's about, an in-depth idea of what the game is, beyond what we can show you in the few minutes that we've allotted for this game, then go on our channel, because we've done a Let's Play of it. But yeah, basically it's an absolutely amazing game. It's always going to be my number 1, whether it's a top 10 or a top 5. Stranger's Wrath is always going to be my number 1 game, because honestly I have never found a game better than it, or at least not more fun, more silly, more everything. That will always be my number 1. So many good games, but none like this.
That was Ratchet's top 5 video games, and now moving on to my top 5. With my number 5, I have the Kingdom of Hearts series. In this game, basically you were this kid, and you go through so many worlds with these different Disney characters, and it got really fun. You have this big sword that's a massive key, and as you can see there in the video, it's a pretty strange world you're in. And as I said, yeah, you travel through different worlds and meet different Disney characters. It'll show you the worlds now on the video. So you've got the Bugs Bunny world, obviously, and not Bugs Bunny, sorry, that's Looney Tunes. Just saw a bunny and thought of Bugs Bunny. Winnie the Pooh, that's the one, and then there's Pinocchio there. and you see the combat system in it's really fun, and the bosses you fight can be really fun, and the humour in it, and like stuff, the things the characters say. Well, it's Disney, obviously it's going to be silly humour. The humour in it's hilarious when sometimes you meet some characters that just make you laugh. This is the gameplay of the first one, but there's 2 other ones I believe of the Kingdom Hearts games, and there's other ones on the DS as well. The Kingdom Hearts games are a really good series of games. I think they were mainly just on the PS2, but there is some on the DS, and I'm not sure if there's one on the Wii, but I think it's just the DS and the PS2. It was mainly on the PS2 I played it myself. And that's the Kingdom of Hearts. Moving on to number 4. The Zelda series. Yeah, Zelda series. Everyone must know the classic Zelda games on like this one here on this Nintendo 64. You had the Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and in the Ocarina of Time, it's got the classic things you do, like using your ocarina to do different things like the Song of Time, slow down time and things, and then running through temples and this became a nightmare, and the bosses you have to face were always really hard, and the puzzles, most of the game was just wandering around thinking where the hell do I go, because it was really confusing, but it's always been a classic game, and always game I'd play over and over again even if I can't complete it because I don't know where I'm going. It was just a really good game to play, a really good platformer. It's on the Wii, and there's so many new ones now, and like the Zelda Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess on the Wii was one of my favourites as well. The Zelda series is a really good game. Moving on to my number 3 though, it's Fallout series. Yeah, the company that make the Fallout series is one of my favourite companies that make games because of how much effort they put into making games, and how it's like the stories in it are amazing, especially with the Fallout series, where it's like it's like vintage, like 50s sort of thing, like a nuclear apocalyptic wasteland sort of thing. You start off in a vault with your family, well not your family, just your dad, and your dad goes missing in the Fallout 3, and you spend most of the game just looking for him and searching through the wasteland. You'll meet like loads of different characters and people, and the story in it's brilliant. And then this video here is Fallout New Vegas, and this is my favourite Fallout definitely. When you go on the Vegas Strip, and you can I'll show later on in this bit in a video in a minute, I'll show the Vegas Strip. The casinos and the characters you meet in there are hilarious sometimes, and playing blackjack, I did that for ages. I was just earning money on it to go and buy yourself better weapons and armour and things. And you can see the gameplay there, and you've got your classic thing on your arm on the game called the Pip-Boy. And in Fallout 4, I know you can buy in real life you can get the Pip-Boy edition, and you'll actually get a Pip-Boy with the thing. I've always thought that was really cool, but it's too expensive for me. But yeah, the Pip-Boy on it, and that's where you see your things. There's the Vegas Strip there I was talking about. Oh, and there's the that's Victor, the robot guy you meet in it. He follows you around everywhere, which is a bit creepy. He seems to know who you are 24/7 in the game. Yeah, and as you see there, you can end up fighting him if you pick, because in the game you can sort of game where you can be bad or good. Your choices affect. You can play the game like 3 times over, and each 3 times the game can be completely different. It's how you choose to play the game is how the game works out. Yeah, you can sort of be bad or good. The areas you'll explore as well, like there's like different tribes in the game, like the Brotherhood of Steel. You can join different factions and stuff. Yeah, that's the Fallout series. There's Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4, which is the most newest ones. And then you do have Fallout 1 and 2, which I've never played. I know they were a lot older, those games. They branch across loads of different platforms, though, like PS3 and PC and Xbox 360, and now the newest ones are on PS4 and Xbox One, obviously. That was my number 3. Number 2, though, by the same company, is the Elder Scrolls series. As I said before, I really like this company because of how much effort they put into these games. This video is mainly on Skyrim, and I've got to say this: that Skyrim is the classic Elder Scrolls game. The story in it is like a fantasy game. You go through villages, you fight dragons, you go through temples and dungeons. you collect armor and upgrade your skills, and you start off by being not knowing. Most of the Elder Scrolls games, you start off and you don't really know who you are, and then the guy asks you who you are, and you build your character. And there's so many classes and things. You could be an elf, you could be a dark elf, you could be a dwarf, you could be just a normal human. You could be there's loads of different creatures you could be. Especially on PC with the mods, you can do things ridiculous things. Like I've got Skyrim on my PC, and in one of my games, my character is Mario, but I'm in Skyrim land, and it's ridiculous. And the dragons that are flying around, I've made the mod a bit so the dragons that are flying around are Thomas the Tank Engine, which is hilarious. And then anyone that's seen the Goonies, my follower on it, every time he'll walk around, and if he sees an enemy, he'll shout "Hey you guys" at them, and they fly away. And so the mods you can do on PC makes the game hilarious. Yeah, but there's the first Elder Scrolls game, which was I can remember, which was Morrowind, I think, and that's on the original Xbox. I remember playing that, and then it moved on to there was Morrowind, then Oblivion, and Oblivion was brilliant. I actually I love the arena in it. I used to spend ages doing that part in the game straight away, rather than following the story, because I used to love that. You go to the arena and you fight all these enemies, and it helps you in the game really, because you end up getting a lot of money out of it, and then you can go and buy yourself more armor and things. But Skyrim was definitely my favourite Elder Scrolls game. I love the fact that it wasn't just a one where you only had to use a sword and a shield. You could become an archer in it if you wanted to. Just use a bow and arrow, and that could become really fun. Like because how vast and open world the game was, you could just like spend ages just shooting from like miles away, and you still get them because of how open world the game was. That's the Elder Scrolls series. That was showing Skyrim mostly. Yeah, the Elder Scrolls and Fallout, they're by the same company, Bethesda. They were one of my favourite companies for games. They were brilliant. But moving on to my number one now, which is Uncharted series. Now I mainly play games on the PC, but this wasn't on PC. This is on varies between PS3 and PS4. The Uncharted was my favourite game. It has been for a while now, because the story in it and the graphics and the environment they put you in is just brilliant. This video will show mainly the story of it, like that's showing from Uncharted 3 when you play as him when he was a kid. The main character is called Drake. And in the game, it's like a platformer game. You explore through jungles, temples, lost cities, and it's a bit like a mix between Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider, like that sort of thing. There's one part where a train falls off a cliff, and you have to climb back up the train, and the physics of it when you jump, like you have to climb back up and stuff, like, and the world around you, it looks amazing. It really is a brilliant game. You can see in the video there, like you have to figure out puzzles through the game as well. Like there, it was showing a puzzle you had to do. And the characters you meet in it, like the humour of the characters in it when they talk to each other and stuff. Sometimes they say some funny things in it, and it's just the story itself is brilliant. That's the train bit I was talking about before. And there's your best friend in it, Sully. And he's one of the funniest characters in it. Like the things he comes out with, and the places you see, and the enemies in it, and the villains in it, they end up becoming really annoying. There'll be some bits of the story, and you'll get so annoyed and into the game with the villains, and you want to progress through the game just to make sure you beat them. And the cutscenes in it, when the things you go through in the game, like you fly down through a desert hanging off a package on a parachute. It's hilarious. That was the Uncharted series at my number one. Definitely my favourite game. That's the Uncharted collection there. That's my favourite because it's got all three on there. There's Uncharted 4 I haven't played yet coming out, and I can't wait to play that. It's going to be amazing. And I'll move on to our honourable mentions and bring back Ratchet.
Hello.
He's okay. This is our honourable mentions. In no particular order, by the way. This isn't a 5-1 again thing. But our first one is Crash Bandicoot.
Absolute brilliant series. I mean, it could be, if I was doing a top 10, if we made this video twice as long and I did my top 10 and Sly here did his top 10, then Crash Bandicoot would be in there. Unfortunately, we decided not to do that. So we only get, it only gets an honourable mention, but it was a brilliant game and definitely deserves to be on a top 10 list.
Our second honourable mention is the Ratchet and Clank series. This had to be on here. It just had to be. An honourable mention, the Ratchet and Clank games were brilliant. The platform style of the games and the characters in it are hilarious. You've got Ratchet, you've got Clank, you've got Nefarious, and you've got, what's his name now?
Captain Quark.
That's the one.
The one who drove Nefarious nuts. So much comedy in that.
Yeah, the humour in the games is hilarious. And that's the Ratchet and Clank series for our second honourable mention.
Thirdly, the Sly Cooper series. Now this was amazing because you would run, you would sneak, you'd get up behind people and pick pockets. You know, and Carmelita Fox, the woman you can see on the picture, she's always chasing you, trying to arrest you. Although half the time she's trying to arrest you, half the time I think she wants to kiss you. I don't know. They tend to flirt a bit between them, but so funny.
Sly Cooper series, brilliant game. Moving on though to Worms. So this is no particular order. It's not Worms as our favourite honourable mention. This is just one. It deserves to be here. The Worms game was a crazy fun game, and you basically have teams, and we've got a video on our channel of a Worms Let's Play if you want to see the gameplay of Worms. But it's just a crazy fun game, and to play with your mates, it's hilarious. Definitely worth an honourable mention.
Definitely, it deserves to be on the top 10.
Yeah, we've been Ratchet and Sly. This has been our top 5 video games each. So it's like he did his top 5 first, I did my top 5. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. If you want to give it a like, give it a like. Subscribe if you want. Goodbye.